Hello, folks, and welcome back to Jolie's, where you can get spicy sausage, roasted nuts, and premium React content. Now, if you're joining me today, you are most likely a family or friend who I've sent this video to give me feedback. So just thank you in advance for all of the insight that you're going to give me. Let me know if the audio levels are good. Let me know about the graphics and how the playback works for you. Today, we're going to be watching a video from one of my favorite content creators, one of my favorite cultural and political commentators named ShoeOnhead, aka June. And she's going to be talking about the 2024 election in this video titled The Downfall of the Democrats / the truth about the 2024 election, which is like nectar to me because I also had my criticisms of the Democratic Party as someone who voted for Kamala Harris. Just so you know, the video starts out with me doing some complaining about my settings. I essentially tried to record the beginning of the video, reacting to it, and then discovered that the video I was recording wasn't good, and I had to go in and tinker with things. But I essentially did not go back. I just picked up where I left off because this is essentially a pilot. Also, I didn't get to watch the entire video. I did so much reacting. I had so much to say on the topic that I stretched out probably about 14 minutes of her talking into about an hour of me reacting to it on top of that. And I had to leave for work to get on my shift. So just bear in mind, there are some faults in the future. I will do full react videos and they will be from beginning to end. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. And if you're here from the future watching all of my content, then you have officially made it to the very beginning, the before times. Before what? I don't know yet. You tell me in the comments below. And if you're here and you're loving it, like and subscribe. Hit that bell. And we're going to be reacting all night long. My audio to a separate track from this, so I won't be able to adjust them in the future. So I definitely have to be very up on the pause button. I can't just throw out comments and expect them to be picked up or audible while she's talking. Even though I'm a man and I want to talk over a woman all the time, I have to hold down that instinct and make sure I interrupt her with the pause button before I start laying into my more well-minded, well-thought-out ideas about politics versus this June here who has just, spent probably the past month researching the entire thing. Whatever. I have intuition because of my masculinity. Anyways, let's watch this some more. I'm just watching for fun now, basically.
Well, for Black Friday, I am offering 50% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all their amazing features. This is their biggest discount of the year, so go to ground.news/shoe, use the QR code here on the screen, or use the link in the video description down below, and subscribe today for only $4.16 repeating per month. I personally think what they're doing is very important because it helps approach the news in a more balanced and transparent way, and I feel like we really need that nowadays. So thank you.
Like she said at the beginning of this, I was completely sideswiped by the election because I had comfortably set myself into a nice little liberal bubble, or liberal left bubble, I should say. Reddit was a huge offender. And I browse all. If you were listening to Reddit who purged themselves of right-wing viewpoints in the mid 2010s, I would say, 2014 through 2016 and especially after Trump won, they just were adamant about getting anybody with a right of center viewpoint off of Reddit for the most part, especially not in the popular subreddits. So it's just sounded like you would have just believed that she had it in the bag if you were just looking at Reddit. I honestly foolishly believed through my own copium that not only was she going to win, but she was going to swing Texas, of all things. Ignorance. But yeah, besides that, mostly my YouTube algorithm was, until the election, was predominantly left-leaning. I love the guys at Internet Today too, but I think they were sober about it. I think Hassan was fairly sober about it. He was a little bit more in favor of Kamala winning, but he was still like, if she wins, it'll be by a hair. But a lot of the other people, they would have just, there were so many times that I was like, just threw up my hands and was like, well, Trump lost because of that. I obviously don't know, what people think, and I could go through all of them at some point, potentially. Maybe I can even just go back and react to her previous videos to, catch the history.
Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? And now let's get back to this election dissection, shall we?
There's no point in saying good morning, because it certainly is not one.
From blaming the American people to blaming Joe Rogan, the Democrats and the media are having a hard time coping with their loss, and I don't blame them. It was a pretty big loss. Embarrassing, quite frankly.
I mean, honestly, I don't think the Democratic Party as it is now probably cannot win an election. It's going to take a massive purge. That's why I'm starting to full-blown support, come out, and I'm going to be full-throated from here on out as a Bernie-crat, because I think there needs to be a movement within the Democratic Party in order to change the dynamics of it, in order to better reflect the values, maybe the values of America, or at the very least appeal to the American people where they are. Also, if you're blaming Joe Rogan, that's very much calling out yourself, because Kamala Harris could have gone on Joe Rogan. She was invited, and she just slowly backed out. I think that if she had gone on with, in that forum and held her own pretty well for about 2.5 to 3 hours, I'm sure that would have changed some hearts and minds. And I think Joe wouldn't have endorsed Trump if she had gone on. I'm sure he would have probably stayed out of it.
Trump overperformed in nearly every state, with basically every demographic, and the entire country seems to be shifting more red. Everyone was so sure dangerous, devious, dastardly Donald would never make his way back into the White House to steal democracy. And he did it. With democracy. Anyway,
Yeah, well, we were, I think a lot of Democratic people were, really chanting about, he's going to steal this one. He's going to, it's like he'll lose, and then he's not going to admit losing. He's going to take it to the courts. I think I was prepared for a 2000 election repeat, which I was 14 for, but my mom was a huge political head. She was big onto listening to Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. So I got basically the play-by-play on the ground, listening to her radio. And I was ready for that sort of reaction, him fighting for battleground states where he barely lost. But turns out he didn't have to.
Got a lot of comments on my last video from new fags like, wait, you're left-wing and you hate the Democrats? Yeah, man, that's a pretty common thing. If you're
100%, I'm right there. I feel like now I've given them 2 elections where I voted blue no matter who. I think I've done my quota for my life. No more. You're going to have to earn my vote next time, Democrats. And trust me, I'm not going to vote for a Republican. I'm just going to vote for a third party. I'll just choose amongst them if the Democrats don't earn my vote.
You're shocked that I'm left-wing, maybe that's a sign you need to take a step back and evaluate some of the preconceived stereotypes you have of people. Not all of us are crazy blue-haired socialists, no. Some of us are crazy brown-haired socialists. But for those of you who are new here, hello.
I don't know if the lighting is capturing it, but June and I right there. It's crazy brown-haired socialist right there.
Hello, I am ShoeOnhead. If you ask the right wing, I am Stalin. If you ask the left wing, I am Hitler. Fiscally far left, culturally centrist, socially retarded. But if you really must put me in a box, it's not that hard to pin me down. I'm a populist. Think Huey Long if he was a 5'3" Italian New Yorker woman who still did her hair and makeup like it was 2008.
Probably one of the reasons I'm cued into this channel. My taste in women was fermented in 2008.
Pin in that Huey Long name, by the way. He's gonna come up later. I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s. My political awakening was jibjab.com. The first time I voted for Obama. I was ready for that hope and change. Instead, we got the crushing of Occupy Wall Street and more drone strikes. And from there, it only got worse. I voted for Bernie in the primaries in 2016, and I watched as the Democratic Party did everything in their power to destroy this man twice.
100%. If you are wondering why some people are disillusioned with the Democratic Party, look at the primary process, the last 3 elections. Obama I think got in under, like Indiana Jones style, slid in under like a doorway that was coming down, and they have locked up their primary style. I would say Bernie was rat fucked in 2016, 2020, and we didn't even have a primary in 2024. Like, come on, like like the entire point of the primary process is to make us little folks feel like we had a say in things. And now that they've gone complete mask off, like, no, we're openly manipulating the primary process to get the guy we want. Like, I don't believe Biden would have taken it if it wasn't for the coordination of the Democratic Party. Now, granted, when you're fighting a war, coordination and rat fuckery is completely on the table. But last time I checked, the democratic process shouldn't be considered a war, especially on the people who are voting.
So it is safe to say I am a little biased when it comes to the Democratic Party, but I don't think I've hated them more than I do right now. The truth is, my last video was way meaner and way harsher than the final product turned out to be. When I showed the video to my assistant, he basically had an intervention with me and he was like, listen, you need to soften this up a bit. It's a few days before the election. You went too hard. Well, the election is over. And I'm sorry, River, but I'm going hard.
Hell yeah! Ooh, that sounded good. Wonder if I can get some of that going on. A assistant named River. I'm just curious. Trans woman, cute trans woman. Sounds like it to me. B 100%. She pulled her punches in the way that Tony Hinchcliffe did not pull his punches during his Madison Square Garden roast session. And now she gets to, completely go off, Queen. I can't wait to see what her assessment is. But I will here in just a second. But first, I'm going to go grab myself some water. While I was getting water, I was just thinking how fun it would be to have brown-haired socialist versus blue-haired liberal as a debate. And I would definitely nominate June to be the brown-haired socialist. Who would you nominate as the blue-haired liberal? Let me know in the comments.
You idiots. You morons. You imbeciles. Kamala Harris? Really? That's who you threw up there? The one who dropped out before Iowa? The one who got blown the out by Tulsi Gabbard? Why didn't you hold a primary? Aren't you the saviors of democracy? Where the was the democracy? Oh, big congratulations to Tim Walz on being the first white male DEI hire. It didn't work. The DNC completely neutered that guy, reduced him to this weird token white man. Hello, fellow men, I too play football. But hey, men were
100%. Thank you, June. 100%. Tim Walz came out of the gate swinging. Where did he go? I was so hyped when she picked Tim Walz. That turned the election. That secured my vote 100%. Like, I think I was still considering voting third party. I put but she chose Tim Walz. This guy came out like a lion. And then what happened? It was like, you're doing too good of a job, Tim. We can't be winning this thing. It's like, if you were to tell me that the Democratic Party actually strategically lost this election, like if that came out in 10 years, I would not be surprised that it was like, you know what? It's actually better for us to lose and just let Trump have one more term and die. There's no way he's going to live through another term. It's just like we'll just reorganize, we'll regroup, and we'll use him for fundraising. You ain't getting $1 out of me, Democratic Party. Not like the Democratic Party. A Democratic candidate? Possibly. But not the Democratic Party. Ever again. Not that I've really donated that much. I mean, like, literally, I think Bernie Sanders is the only politician I've donated to. But, yeah, 100%. Like, if you were to tell, yet again, if you were to tell me that what they did to Tim Walz was a masculinity, or what is it called? One of those rituals that they always talk about, like embarrassment ritual, I would believe you. I would believe, like, if they had told Tim, oh my God, and Tim had so many bangers and his son went viral, for that's my dad moment. That nearly made me cry, my man. Like, just to be proud of your dad. Ooh, feeling I'll never know about. Anyways, so yeah. 100%. I like, of all the things, like, I understand, like, look, I backed in the corner. I saw the logic with choosing Kamala Harris. I didn't, and I thought she had gained some shine. I mean, like, skipping out on the primary process, I thought, I don't know. It's like, she's good. She's a good speaker, and she has, like, I don't think she's a bad person. I just want to say that she is not the problem, except for maybe, like, she didn't just completely take the reins as the party leader, and she was obviously something more like akin to, just a spokesperson for somebody else's agenda. It felt like, but like, you see those those videos of her at home interacting with her, like, family, and it looks like my aunt. She sounds like somebody in my family, somebody I love. You don't see that with Donald Trump. You don't get that, like, guy you like. You get, like, the guy who you have to appease, the guy you have to avoid at the family gathering. So, I just want to say, I firmly believe that she had the right, I don't know, personality to be a leader when it comes to that side of her humanity, but she might not have had enough Machiavellian, because honestly, there's probably some heads that needed to roll to get out of the way for her, and obviously she didn't have it in her to do that, and she just let them tell her what to do and let them emasculate, Tim Walz in front of the entire country. What a great guy.
Aren't the only demographic you completely dropped the ball with. Trump made incredible gains with women, too. Oh, and all those never-Trumpers you tried to court, the people who like the old, respectable GOP. The old, respectable GOP that led us into a pointless war that cost us trillions of dollars and millions of lives. But we're at least nice on Twitter. That GOP. Yeah, they didn't come out and vote for your ass either. So you got Liz Cheney to tag along for what? For f***ing what? You raised $1 billion and ended up $20 million in debt? Where the hell did all that money go? Maybe you should have blown it all.
Yeah, good question, June. Where did that money go? I'm thinking there's quite a few lined pockets after this one. Those heads that should have rolled were probably just stuffing their pockets on the way out. Hell, that not even on the way out. They're still in. I'm sure you're going to see the same names in 2028 that you saw in 2024 behind the scenes, if they have anything to say about it. You have to get out there during the primary process, and we have to get a Bernie Crat style Democrat. I mean, I know AOC has, like, some issues, and also she's probably not the best candidate from the perspective of, like, she's from New York. I don't know. It just seems like that's not the best state. I'm not a political strategist. AOC would be great. I would love for somebody else to be coming up in the wings. Tim Walz. I mean, I personally think if he was the one who was in the person running for president, it might have even been a closer race. I'm not just saying that because he was a white man. I'm saying that because he had, like, a genuine appeal. Anyway, sorry, can't go on that. But yeah, 100%. Where did that money go? How did they get so in debt? You're telling me you spent 1.2, would it be 1.2? $1.02 billion on a campaign?
On celebrity appearances that did nothing. Or maybe it was spending 6 figures on a single-use set for the...
They don't understand podcasting. That is the set they bought. Okay, podcasts. Like, look, okay, I've done some set decoration, and what you're seeing around me, it's intentional, and it works around what I have. But it's not like I have marble. I didn't go and get marble stands for these lamps. I mean, I didn't get I didn't get a golden chair to sit in. It's like podcasting, and this is what she didn't. Her team, especially, I'm assuming it's her team. She probably wasn't the one saying, "Hey, I need a marble coffee table and golden chairs to sit in." But her team didn't understand, like the appeal of podcasting is you just show up in some guy's house. Like, look at Hassan, his set. Crystal Mommy went over there and sat down next to him and spoke into his same freaking microphone that Austin's show speaks into. I mean, come on, it's so obvious that they did not understand the aesthetics of internet culture. Like, they should have gone to whatever set Call Her Daddy is filmed on, especially if it's a studio. That looks even cooler. Like, I'm sorry, like, if I get upgrades, you're going to see me in something that looks like an old school radio studio, you know, with dark lighting, like just a spotlight on me or something like that. So, anyways, yeah, they don't get it. They're out of touch. I bet you there's somebody down below who does get it, but the Democratic Party is so, like, hierarchical in the worst kind of ways. Like, I feel like the Democratic Party is probably hierarchical in the, like, whoever's been here the longest gets the loudest voice instead of whoever's the most talented. Like, the opposite of a competency hierarchy, like a tenure hierarchy, I guess you would call it. And I'm sure, like, the loudest voices in the room are the ones who haven't even listened to a podcast. They think that like Serial is like truly a podcast, when it really is just an NPR show that they release on podcast format. Anyways, rant over.
Call Her Daddy podcast that didn't even hit 1 million views. I want to see a full audit of this campaign.
Okay, I don't mean to do this. Hopefully I don't do this too often. Call Her Daddy. Let's just take a look here. So I'm going to go into, you get to see my Unk status, like internet navigation. That's, you know, Jolie's is definitely an Unk-grown store. All right, so I'm looking at Call Her Daddy Kamala. Also, Call Her Daddy, what a weak show. 1 month ago, 905K, just under 1 million, but that is important. Under 1 million views. And then I guess there's maybe a clip recap, Access Hollywood version of it. That's 200. But you have to imagine a lot of people who watched this 11:16, 11-minute long version. Wait, this is 7 minutes? Is this just a trailer? Wait, what? Why is it only 7 minutes? Are you telling me that Kamala Harris went on Call Her Daddy, a podcast, a long-form conversational style show, built $100,000 set for her, and then proceeded to only have a 7-minute episode? Oh, I hate to do this. Oh my goodness. So this is
Okay, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Let's pause this really quick. Just gonna say, maybe I don't understand Call Her Daddy. Maybe the show is a little bit different than my understanding of it. I wonder if she kept the set. 754. Okay. So 4, 11, 5. Okay, so maybe is this a shorts channel? Maybe I just don't understand what Call Her Daddy. Dating Insecure Men with Katy Perry. 5. Okay. So maybe that's just the way her show is. She does short form interviews, or they cut it down to just the best bits or something. Okay, it's obviously not my show, but this is probably like really good for YouTube algorithmically, you know, just get a whole bunch of back to back. If there is a longer format of the show, let me know. Also, wow, only goes back 4 years when. Okay, but then she got really cooking a year ago. All right, now let's just do JRE Trump. I'm not a Joe Rogan listener myself. I don't think I've ever sat through an entire episode, even when he had people on that I like. Maybe I've listened to an entire Jordan Peterson episode. Oh, and just for the record, I am an old, like, you can quote me on this, I'm a fan of old school Jordan Peterson. Like, obviously, like, the guy he's turned into is a little bit more wishy-washy, and I definitely don't like him as a Twitter personality. But, like, yeah, his old, like, you know, I will stand the Old Testament series, the Genesis series of lectures that he did, as well as, like, his the classes he taught, you know, even when he goes on anti-Marxist rants. But so here, 2 hours to 3 hours, let's just round it up to 3. Like, we managed to sat in the chair for another minute and 11 seconds. But, okay, he has 18 million subscribers, and this video has, whoops, I messed up. Where's the view count on the video? 51 million views. Wow. like talk about the opposite of ratioed. 1 month ago, he gets 50 million views. That is one, two, like nearly 3 times his subscriber count. Like he more than doubles his subscriber count on views. And people sat and watched a 2 hour and 58-minute video of Donald Trump sitting in the same chair that, I don't know, Shane Gillis has sat in, sitting in the same chair that Mark Norman has sat in, sitting in the same chair that Jordan Peterson has sat in. All these people, he came to their space. You know, I mean, I'm not going to say Trump is humble, not at all, but he presented humility in this versus Kamala Harris presenting artificialness. Like I do wonder, like, let's go back one more time. I just curious, what was Call Her Daddy set like before? So let's see. Let's just jump 3 episodes on cheating on he cheated on our wedding day. Okay. That's like a call-in show, it looks like, or a Vice show. Okay, so this is
One day, and this is in college, you walk into your kitchen and your entire family.
This is almost the same set. Why did they? Okay, was the idea that the Democratic Party rebuilt her set and had her come out to where Kamala was? Let's jump further back.
Okay, we have to talk about the infamous
Okay, so why did they not? Like, I now I almost want to hear the play-by-play. I don't have enough time for this. I could spend an entire. I could turn her video into like June's video into something so much longer. ShoeOnhead, amazing show. Great content that she's been covering. The what is it? The male problem is what it's been called. Like the men problem. Recently. So in case I don't continue on to the very end of this video in this session, I just have to say, definitely give her a watch. You can go back at least a year. I would say, like, she has great content from before, but if you want to just get up on modern ShoeOnhead, start with the man problem, maybe go back a few videos before that, and then watch through. Like you just have to watch that run of videos to know where she is at now. I think before that, she was doing more like, you know, here's the horrible things that are happening in the news. And even before that, she was just like kind of a Twitter react person, like, you know, like looking at takes on Twitter, which she still does, but she's made it into a better show overall. Anyways, sorry. But yeah, essentially they went out of their way to try to rebuild the Call Her Daddy set. And now I understand the marble coffee table. It still doesn't excuse it that they had to get that again. Like either you go to the set of the podcast or the podcast comes to you and they set up a rinky dinky production, especially for something that's going to be 7 minutes. God, I think the only time I want something to be 7 minutes is when it's 7 minutes in heaven. All right, I'm going to take a bathroom break and get back to June here in just a moment. All right, I just have to really quick just be like, what the hell? One more time. 51 million views for him to sit in the same chair that everybody else has sat in the same set. I'm not saying Trump spent nothing to get there, to be on the Joe Rogan Experience. At the very least, travel costs. I know that he had to delay one of his rallies, so he might have upset a few of his geriatrics. But 51 million views versus not even a million, 100K shy of a million views. He did 50 times the amount of coverage, and his was 3 hours and hers was 7 minutes. It was so easy to watch hers. I'm sure the people at the Trump team, you know what Kamala Harris should have gone on was Red Scare. Like, if she actually wanted to make an impact and actually like kind of talk to people who she needed to court, like, fuck Liz Cheney, fuck the Cheneys. Go on a podcast that's specifically for, you know, if you're going to go on a dumb bimbo podcast, go on the one that is actually fun to watch and is actually like has some amount of intellectual prowess to it. I'm not saying that they're the smartest, and that like I'm not sure the literature they read, but they are entertaining and people listen to them, and you're winning back because the people who listen to Red Scare are most likely former liberals. You know, people who, you know, who are, what's the term I'm looking for here? People who were swayed to the other side, I think you could win back their hearts and minds. So just saying, I bet you she would have made much more of an impact going on Red Scare. Also, it would have made the news much more, like, it would have been much more controversial. People would have been titillated. And it's in New York. So easy to go and drop in on those ladies. Probably the problem is it's not a video podcast. Should be. Love watching them.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if this was all like a big money laundering scheme. Because honestly, that makes more sense than this being a legitimate presidential campaign. Then, they had the audacity to beg their supporters for money after she lost.
That right there, that's on the screen right there is insulting. Like, you want people to never vote Democrat again? Just do that. Just, that's going to be remembered. That is the meme. Like, oh, you're feeling your feels right now. You know what would make you feel better? Giving us money so we can squander it again. I swear, like, I mean, every time you get to the end of these campaigns, especially after a loss, and you find out the Democrats like really live up to their name on how well they manage their money. I mean, like I said, Bernie Crat right here. I'm dying by this blue right here.
How about you? How about every DNC consultant should have this map sewn onto the inside of their eyelids? May they
I'm also up for bringing back some of the more carnal punishments for people who, how should I say, fleece the American people. And trust me, there's quite a long list. So, and I think a guillotine is too good for them. I'll just say that. Go and watch the super secret podcast about to be rebranded as F Tier. You're hearing that here first, possibly. Go watch our episode on historic fatalities and decide which form of execution you think is best for the Democratic operatives who brought us the failure that is this last presidential campaign.
Never have a peaceful wink of sleep for the rest of their miserable lives. So that is how I feel about the whole situation. But what do Democrats and the media think? What do they think the Harris campaign did wrong? Why do they think Kamala lost?
Because we're just so damn racist. The people are racist. And heaven forbid, minorities, they're very suspect now. Boys, if you're in the Democratic Party and you're a diehard Democrat, racism's back on the table. So good luck with that one in the coming years.
I think Harris ran a really good campaign. If there's one person I do not blame for this loss, it is Vice President Harris.
This is going to be a long fucking video.
Yes, June. We're only 9 minutes in of a 37-minute video. I don't think I can sit here and watch the entire thing if I keep pausing at this rate. This is just a sample. This is a pilot. Okay. This is something for like the deep cuts. Like if you're here in 2030 because you want to see where I started out at, hello, welcome to Jolie's, where we serve spicy sausage and roasted nuts. And we're watching June go over the 2024 presidential election. Were you alive in 2024? Could you vote? Let me know in the comments.
The media this morning saying Dems need to have a reckoning. No, we don't. We can't be blamed because we expected Americans to be who they always claim they are. Democrats don't have a messaging problem. America has a racism problem. Kamala ran a flawless campaign in 100 days, and I refuse to let y'all gaslight me into believing anything other than that. She lost because she's a woman, and a black one at that.
I mean, if that is true, and this entire campaign was to save democracy, then why did you run the black woman? That's almost telling on yourself at that point. It's either she had a chance and she was the best candidate to save democracy, or she never had a chance. Like, would we learn that today? If she never had a chance, you knew that. You had the polling to show. You idiots would have, if you didn't do your research, what's that saying? It's either malicious or stupidic. It's either, malice or stupidity. And either way, your head needs to roll. You need to get out of here. You're done. You would be fired at any other job. You would know, I believe, if the polling would show that she had even if she had an uphill battle to climb with the claims that were being made about what Donald Trump is going to do to this country. And trust me, I believe he's going to do it. I believe we will wake up in 2026 and look back on America before 2024 and think, wow, that was a different place. We are living in a different country now. I believe you. And if that's the case, if you think Kamala Harris had an uphill battle, then you probably shouldn't have ran her. You should have gone with the safest bet possible, right? If it was so important, if all of our rights are going to be taken away and we're going to be living in a fascistic state, and that's what you had to go up against, maybe you should have ran. I mean, I don't know. There's options out there, I'm sure, or maybe there isn't, because all of your old geriatrics have been holding down the young talent and ass raping them publicly to humiliate them. And now you're left with nobody to replace them. So, what was it? The governor of Pennsylvania? Could have been a potential option. Gavin Newsom? Probably not. A little unpopular. All he does is secure you California. But there had to be somebody out there. Like, maybe Bernie Sanders. Of all the people that you could have ran. And maybe you could have let the American people choose, or the Democratic Party choose, at least the people in the Democratic Party going to the convention and doing an open convention. I thought it was a bad idea at the time, but hey, hindsight's 2020. But yeah, so basically, if she was never going to win because of racism, you should have known that, and you should have chosen a different candidate. Or she ran a bad campaign, which I'm kind of thinking, I personally believe this was a working class loss. Like, you lost the working class. You didn't lose the racists. It wasn't about racism. You didn't speak to the working class people. You didn't speak even to middle class people for the most part. I mean, yeah, you did, but you did it in not the direct ways that you needed to. It was more like, if I'm in, I'm going to give you this on this, stipulation. Like, trust me, I delivered. So, hey, why should you listen to me? I deliver pizzas for a living. I don't know. Take that as you will. I delivered a pizza the next day to a dude, Hispanic man, shaky English, thick accent. He was like working. He was outdoors working on a. I'm not sure exactly what he was doing. Maybe a roof, something like that. He was obviously a working class guy, works with his hands. But I brought up the election, saying how we were so busy the day of the election, people were eating their feelings, which I do truly believe. And he was like, oh, all that, it's like, and we got such a good result. But basically, he tipped his hand that he was happy that the election went to Donald Trump. I don't know if he voted for Donald Trump because, like I said, I'm not sure if the guy could vote. I didn't sit there and interrogate him, but he was happy that Donald Trump won. A Mexican man. So racism, I don't know. A Mexican man who shaky legal status, like at the very least he would be asked for his papers if like ISIS was coming around. And yeah, and he was happy about the win. So you can tell which way the wind was blowing when it came to working class, salt of the earth people. They were not spoken to. Big surprise from these limousine liberals and their fucking celebrities. Yeah, who's to blame here? Chapel Roan. That's who's to blame. Yeah, that woman. That woman had the audacity not to back Kamala, to not endorse her. We made a whole day on Twitter and TikTok about that stupid situation. And you know what? She's coming out smelling like flowers because celebrity endorsements swung the needle nilch. If anything, it pulled the needle back towards Trump. Because you should probably be vetting the celebrities that you're getting endorsements from.
This really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign.
Listen, I'm no political analyst, but losing seems like a pretty big flaw.
Truly,
Yes.
don't overthink it. It's because she's a woman, she's a black woman.
Don't overthink it. In fact, don't think about it at all.
Yeah,
Kamala
100%.
Harris lived up to our dreams. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She ran a remarkable 107-day.
She lived up to your dreams, but she didn't live up to our reality.
emergency campaign full of joy and hope.
Kamala Harris was the perfect candidate.
Don't get me wrong. I've already, as I said earlier, as a person, as like somebody who I want to see as a leader, as a figurehead for this country, I would so much prefer. I voted for her. I believed in her. You know, it wasn't. I do agree. I don't think it was her specifically. It was, you know, all the other things that go into a campaign.
And she ran a beautiful campaign of joy, empathy, and unity. Joy and empathy and unity doesn't motivate people to go to the polls. No wonder Republicans had incredible turnout and so many Democrats stayed home. This isn't Steven's universe. You just can't, like, joy and empathy and unity your way out of not being able to afford food for your family.
If I get to the point of writing video essays or doing what June does, which I would very greatly love to get there. Right now, I'm just going to start out with reacts. I think there's something to be said about the content, the cartoons, I guess the animated series, starting probably with Adventure Time. Not to say I'm blaming Adventure Time, but going through Steven Universe and that era of cartoons. I think that we got a little too high on our own supply of, like, empathy will save everything, love conquers all. It's like there's a reason for these things are for children, and adults were watching these. We turned animated TV shows into something that was like prestige television for adults, except for they were still made for children. Like, you want to get a dose of reality, watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. That one actually had some sane adult oriented politics on its mind.
CNN has a story titled, Where the Harris Campaign Went Wrong. Nope, I won't read it. Harris ran a great campaign. The story should be titled, Where the American People Went Wrong.
This is the take I'm most upset about. This kind of take right here. Where Harris campaign went wrong. Nope, I won't read it. Well, with an attitude like that, I'm surprised you can read anything, buddy. Jesus. You have to read. You have to, like, you either win or you lose. And if you lose, that's a lesson. If you're not going to take lessons from it, granted, if the point of this man's post was CNN has a story, like if it was about CNN, I'm not going to read no CNN story analyzing the election. Like, they have proven themselves to be quite bad at this entire thing. They're supposed to be like the down the middle network. It's like you should have Fox News and then MSNBC, and then CNN should take the middle slot, and they failed to do that, and they failed to deliver anything good. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if CNN lost market share if every Planet Fitness in the country stopped playing CNN. Like, their numbers would go down noticeably by percentage points. Take any gymnasium, any like lobby that just has CNN playing, and just turn it off. Turn it to anything else. Honestly, all those TVs should just be used for footage of dogs wearing funny hats being shot in with a wide angle lens. That's what the American people need.
La la la, I can't hear you. La 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 la, I can't hear you. It's not me, it's you. La 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 la. The cope is unreal here. They don't even want to listen to criticism. They really think they did absolutely nothing wrong. They only see this as a Trump win and not a Democrat failure.
Kamala Harris was not a flawed candidate. America is a flawed country.
You're not wrong. America is a flawed country. But you're not going to win elections with that mindset, if that's what you really want. And what did Biden do to make America not a flawed country? Did he raise minimum wage? No, not really. Did he maybe do an executive order to protect women's right to choose on a national level that the states couldn't argue against? No, not really. Infrastructure. He did something about infrastructure. Maybe.
This incredible tweet here is from Shannon Watts, who is on the board of
My last name! Shannon Watts, I should follow her. She has my last name. I should just follow anybody with the last name of Watts. Yeah, she's on the board. Like, yeah, come on. Aunt, what can we... Cuz, what can we do? Empowering Democratic women to run and win. I think here's the problem. You put a minus sign right there. To run, minus, and win. Okay. We show Democratic women how to run for office. Okay, well, I need to go and grab my breakfast here. Also, like, yeah, I get maybe 12 more minutes of this, and at the rate I'm going, I couldn't even watch the entire video without reacting and have enough time to do my morning routine. So this is definitely going to be just a pilot, I think. I'll make sure to carve out more time. I honestly sat down and didn't think I would have that much to say. I thought I would let June do the talking. I'm discovering that I do have stuff to say, and I want to say it into this camera. So this might actually be where I'm supposed to be right now. That all said, I'm still going to try to push as long as possible on this video, but we show American women how to run for office. Oh, cuz how about you just maybe show qualified candidates how to run for office? Just saying. No, I mean, I want women. I want to vote for women. I want to vote for strong women. I also want to vote for strong men. I'm just saying the best candidate for any particular office might not be the woman who can run for the office. You know, I just think that this, it's like, I get identity culture, but identity politics, it does, you know, in the system that we have, you know, maybe not the best. Here, I'm going to be right back. Oh yeah, I'm skipping out on my morning exercise for this, just so y'all know. All right.
Urge America, which is an organization that, quote, shows Democratic women how to run for office. Yeah, we're never getting a female president.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
He would absolve her.
Wow.
Because that's what the important part was to these operatives in the Democratic Party, was not that Donald Trump lose, that Kamala Harris becomes the 47th president of the United States, because we should have a woman president first. You know, that was, everybody wanted to see their name go down in the history books with Hillary and with Kamala. They wanted to be like, we made it. We made the book. That's their idea of like what their grand plan in life is just to be written about in American history books, and just an accomplishment that they made. Because obviously, American history books isn't going to mention whoever the fuck that was, or the team behind Kamala Harris, or Hillary Clinton for that matter. But they just wanted to have that accomplishment. I honestly believe that's what they were running for. They weren't running for you or for me. They were running for a legacy in United States history. And it's going to be hard for a woman to run for president with that hanging over their head, and that being like the main motivation for them.
What the f is this Make-A-Wish president shit? Like she's a little kid who wants to play pretend. Oh, just let her for a few days. What? Please tell me we are not gonna get the first female president out of pity.
Well done, America. You failed them both.
The people...
Hillary Clinton failed herself. Let's just be real. Like, I need to find another video about Hillary to react to, because I got shit to say about Hillary Clinton and the arrogance she had, thinking she had any chance of running for president. She lost in this racist country. Hillary Clinton lost to a black man. We've had a black man president. You know what he had? He had Riz. You know what Donald Trump has? He definitely has some Riz. Like, I'll say this. When Donald Trump isn't president and he's not running for president, when he's like in between, or like when he's in the Republican primaries and he's out there having to do battle with Republicans, damn, I love Donald Trump in those eras. Like when he's just out there slaying Republicans. It's only when he has, it's when he's going up against the actual, you know, when he actually is like a breath away from presidency, which he's done twice now. So, hey, whatever. Hillary Clinton failed this country. We didn't fail her. Get that straight.
Cannot let politicians down. That's not how this works. As a politician, you are not owed anyone's vote. You have to earn it, and evidently she didn't earn it. We already went through this in 2016. Donald Trump beat both female candidates. Donald Iron Sealing Trump. It's not our...
He deserves, I will say this, like, I'm not a Trump fan. He deserves a title at this point. Donald the Pussy Slayer. I mean, he grabbed it, then he slayed it, honestly. Iron ceiling Trump. Yeah, I mean, he's a WWE president. He deserves to have a WWE title of some sort like that.
Fault the female candidates you're putting up are dog shit. Give us some good female candidates and maybe people will vote for them. At this
Oh yeah. Like they could have potentially propped up Tulsi Gabbard. I think she could have been a good female candidate. I mean, is she a Russian asset? I don't know. Like I'd have to do more research into that to make my decision. But I'm not trusting Hillary Clinton when she says that Tulsi Gabbard's a Russian asset. But they basically ostracized her out of the party and into the hands of the Democratic Party. I'm going to post this, even if it is just a test, even if it makes me look embarrassing, it's going to be public because right here, right now, I'm going to say the first female president will be a Republican and it'll probably be Tulsi Gabbard. Just saying.
rate, the first female president is going to be a Republican. Mark my words, it's bound to happen.
June! Great minds think alike, June!
And if it doesn't happen, this was a joke. One of the groups that showed up overwhelmingly for Trump was Latinos. One of the major stories of the results is the significant surge in support for Trump.
I know I might look white, and I am white, but I am a product of divorce, and my stepfather is a Hispanic man. My stepfather's family is a big Latino family. I am closer to them than any of my white family. Like, my white family might as well, like, like, very waspy in the sense of, like, they don't like each other, in my opinion. Like, my dad doesn't go to any, family gatherings. And my mom mostly only talks about her family when she's telling me bad news, as though that's the only news that's worth hearing. So, I know my Hispanic family the best. I'm just going to say, I could go down that line. Maybe the women voted for Kamala, but I'm just going to assume almost every man in that family voted for Trump. And I don't blame them, honestly, especially because they're predominantly Catholic and abortion's a big issue for Catholics. I can presume they could potentially be single issue voters, but also they're quite prosperous. Like, they're probably whiter, like, by white standards. Like, if you took out their race and just looked at the balance sheet of, like, their jobs, their income, where they live, my Latino family is whiter than me, because I'm living in the slums in Houston and they're living in pretty nice parts of San Antonio in nice houses. I'm just going to say the American dream is alive and well, and it was handed, it's being lived by Latino people, because you know why? Because they worked for it and they actually wanted it, and we had it and we squandered it, or at the very least we had it and realized we didn't want it. That could be a whole other video.
Among Latino voters, Trump nearly erased the Democratic advantage in this group, narrowing the gap from 33 points to just 8.
Democrats gonna build the wall 50 times higher after that one.
We have to have a very, very uncomfortable conversation about Latino voters in this country.
Oh, what's that conversation? What's uncomfortable about it? That they have demands and they have their own opinions and they're just not getting in lockstep with the Democratic Party as they're supposed to. We promised you all that stuff years ago, and we kind of delivered. Now you're supposed to vote for us for the rest of your lives, you and the blacks.
Me watching him deport the Latinos and the Arab Americans after they voted.
If you ever find yourself posting Betty Draper as an icon for yourself, you need to look in the mirror. That bitch was crazy.
For him. And Cinco de Mayo.
To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family, whether you were here legally or not. You gotta.
They're letting the black people in the Democratic Party say the racist stuff. That's my theory. They're dog whistling, and the black voters in the Democratic Party are picking up on the whistle, and then they're taken to TikTok and Twitter.
Go.
I know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members. So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report said family members.
Donald Trump's strongest soldiers. Spiteful liberals.
A district that's 97% Latino went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some less.
That's what that was.
Another demographic for people.
Wow. Wow. Just disregarding the, it's like that woman had everything going for her in terms of, like being able to speak her truth and her knowledge. They can't write that off as mansplaining. They can't write that off as some sort of whitewashing. A Latino woman talking about Latino problems, and then the woman next to her just like, no, that's not it. Mm-mm. That is insulting. No wonder you know what? I was agnostic about The View for years, and would roll my eyes when my dad brought it up. My dad, Fox News Republican, the most like, NPC version of it, in my opinion. And like, I would roll my eyes when he would bring up The View. I'm now suspecting he was right all along about The View.
People that overwhelmingly showed up to vote against Kamala were Muslims. In a Michigan-specific poll of 502 registered Muslim voters, Stein got 59% support, followed by Trump at 22%, and Harris with a tiny 14% of the vote. The results show significant backlash to the Biden administration's handling of Israel's brutal war in Gaza, which has killed at least 43,508 Palestinians, including more than 16,765 children, as well as how the Harris campaign chose to tackle the issue.
Yeah, this is definitely the what is it, the something in the room. I got to be quicker on my feet if I'm going to be doing this reaction stuff. The amount of editing to make me look smart, astronomical, a burden I cannot take on. So I'm just going to look stupid. Basically, she lost Latinos and a good portion of black voters because she didn't speak to working class issues. That's probably a big thing. And whites. Let's face it, like, she lost the white working class by not speaking to them, and she lost youth voters who are too young to realize how important class is. Trust me, I was there. I didn't realize how important class was, because young people are often fooled into thinking, oh yeah, I'm middle class, when really, no, you're working class. Anyways, but one thing they do care about, they're probably the most empathetic age to be when it comes to this, and they're like a generation that's still I don't want to say generation, because it's not a Zoomer thing, it's a young person thing. That's something I kind of want to tackle, is this whole narrative about like, oh, the Gen Z generation is like this, millennials are like that. No, it's like people who are 18 to 28 or whatever are like this, and 29 to 38 are like this. But it's all about like where you are in life. I feel like generations, like Zoomers, millennials, boomers, it's mostly aesthetic, honestly. Some deep core values, but it's a huge, bigger issue that's worth prying into. But one thing that they believe in ethics, they believe in fairness, they think that things can change, and they're being pelted in the face with innocent people being bombed by another country, genocided. I will say this, Israel is performing a genocide, a slow, methodical genocide, so that they can have the history books not call it a genocide. And when I say Israel, I mean the government of Israel, Netanyahu, the people of Israel, like, have mixed opinions. We're not talking about all Israelis. They are performing, oh man, I just realized I said the genocide word. I wonder if, and kill, I probably have to mark my language for YouTube. That's why this is a pilot. And it will be posted, but it will probably be buried. Yeah. So she lost the working class by not speaking to them, and then she lost the young vote by ignoring them and what they had to say about this. Honestly, like, yeah, it's like between those two things, like, this is why I feel like this was a Democratic run campaign, not a Kamala Harris run campaign, because she just got in lockstep with them on this. I don't know if she actually believes it. I would love for Kamala Harris to come out and be like, you know what, be telling on herself. Anyways, the point being, she lost the youth vote hard, and it's because she did not denounce the genocide in the Middle East.
So how exactly did they tackle that issue? Why, sending that old pervert freak Bill Clinton up to Michigan to talk down to Muslims about Palestine.
if your campaign finds itself talking down to the people and not talking up, not lifting them up, but putting them down and telling them to get in line, you have lost. You're done. That's it. There's no campaign in the world that can sustain, belittling and berating the voters. They'll vote against you out of spite.
Understand why young Palestinian and Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died. I get that. But
Muslims really said,
one of the best lines from Game of Thrones, the TV show, was my father taught me that everything said before the but is a lie or doesn't matter, basically. I should have that. I should pull that clip from Jon Snow.
we hate you more than the guy that talked about a Muslim ban. Just a side note, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah.
It's like he hasn't had his daily dose of adrenochrome in a week. Someone get this man a fresh child stat. Muslims, Latinos, who else are we gonna blame? Ah yes, women.
Yes, Trump improved with young men, but he drew in young women too.
Wow, look at that. 52% of all women who look like me are f***ing stupid.
Despite making abortion the number one issue in her campaign, despite Brat Summer, despite the white women for Harris Zoom calls, and most of all, despite the Taylor Swift endorsement, Harris only managed to get +8 with women. Despite it all, many women.
This is how I fooled myself too, because I thought Taylor Swift's endorsement was going to be a lockup. I thought she had women. I honestly thought it was going to be like 80% of all women voting for Kamala Harris after Taylor Swift and some of those other endorsements. So just goes to show you, celebrities ain't shit. Celebrities ain't shit when it comes to actually running a campaign. It should be well known, kind of what it was Hillary Clinton's strategy. We got all the celebrities. We got all the liberal celebrities. It's like, who does Donald Trump have? He has Tony Hinchcliffe, which was actually a negative to his campaign, if you were to believe the liberal media, the legacy media, I should probably start calling it. He had Hulk Hogan, so washed up. I mean, like that's like comfort food. That's like potato chips for like Generation X, and younger boomers. Maybe older millennials, but that's basically all it is. The guy who sings "Proud to be an American," okay, Joe Rogan, technically, I kind of don't consider him to be like a Trump. Like, he didn't go to a Trump rally and speak to Trump. He just endorsed him at the last minute, days before. I don't think that's the same. That was like if I don't know, the New York Times had endorsed Trump or something like that. It's closer to that. So I'm not going to count Rogan. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, those are the celebrities that come to mind. Like, now, Kamala Harris. So let's see. I can name Taylor Swift. I can name Beyonce. I can name J-Lo, I believe, was there for her. That's three. That's three women. Let's see who else. I'm sure I could get more if I really did some digging. That was not Chapel Roan, girl. You knew. But yeah. Celebrity endorsements. So, but the difference in quality, I think you can appreciate. All three of those people have like had successful things happen in mainstream media. The most successful, most current celebrity endorsement that Donald Trump got, who like actually joined his team essentially, was Tony Hinchcliffe, I believe. Like Theo Vaughn, but these are interviews. I don't count interviews. Like, if you interviewed Donald Trump, that doesn't mean that you endorsed him. I mean, I'd have to watch the interview to know for sure. But I'm sure almost anybody who had Trump on would have had Kamala on if she was actually smart enough to go on podcasts and talk to the youth. It's 9 o'clock or it's 10 o'clock. I have work at 11. I can't sit here and record anymore, and I'm not going to deny myself listening to the rest of June's video. So this is just going to be a pilot for friends to watch. I'm just going to wrap it up here and watch the rest of the video for myself. But obviously there are things to say. Obviously I this is maybe my soapbox that I can sit in. And I would love to react to more ShoeOnhead videos. Unfortunately, I've seen all of them, so I can't do a fresh react like this one. But suffice to say, thank you so much for coming to Jolie's and sitting down with me and, watching some of this nice content and hearing my thoughts on it. As always, feel free to grab some spicy sausage and some roasted nuts on your way out. And why don't you hit that like and subscribe button? That way when we got some fresh content farmed just for you. Peace.